So this is the Comma 2 dev kit that I ordered from Comma.ai. I do plan to use this on my 2018 Toyota RAV4 XLE, the non-hybrid version. So I'll go ahead and open the box and show you what comes inside. So first thing you'll get is this little welcome brochure. It tells you where to go online for some step-by-step instructions, and then it also tells you about the free Comma Prime trial that you get when you download their app. Underneath that, you'll find the actual main Comma 2 unit here. From what I understand, they do 3D print these, but it doesn't feel cheap. It feels nice and solid and sturdy. It's also got a cooling fan on the back, which will help for those of you in the warmer climates. I live in Texas, so I know this will definitely help a lot, especially in the summer. And then underneath that is your actual wiring harness that's specific to your brand. So of course I have a Toyota. And in this box you'll get the actual mounting plates. They give you two, I guess one as a backup in case you need it. And then you have the actual wiring harness, and you'll see where I install this later on in this video. So in addition to that wiring harness, you get a USB-C cable, an Ethernet cable, and then an adapter that actually connects to your car's OBD2 port. And then you get two alcohol pads just to clean off your windshield before you install the mount. And you get a Comma sticker, and then some mounting tips. So let's get this installed in my car. So the first thing you want to do is take the alcohol wipes that come with the kit and just wipe down the area where you want to mount your Comma 2. Then the next thing you want to do is actually attach the mounting plate to your Comma 2, and then just find a good angle that you want to install it at. So of course you want to be able to see the screen from your driving position, and these front-facing cameras also need to be able to see you. I'm not sure if there's two cameras or if there's just one camera and one of these is another sensor, but this camera should be able to see, one of these cameras should be able to see your face for the driver monitoring system. So just find a good angle and just to get a good idea of where you'll actually mount your Comma 2. Make sure you can see it when you're in a driving position. Make sure the camera can see your face, and that's where you'll mount the Comma 2. So now that you know generally where you're going to mount the Comma 2, next step is remove the backing from the adhesive and just stick it on your windshield. So another thing you want to do is make sure that the Comma 2 is facing directly straight forward. So you don't want it to be facing, to the left or to the right. And you want to get it as close to the center of the windshield as possible as well. I've seen some people use some string or something to find the exact center of their windshield, but I don't really feel like doing that, and if it's not perfect, it came with another plate, so I'll just try again. if it's not perfectly straight. So now that you've got the Comma 2 mounted in the desired position, according to the mounting tips, the next step is to actually remove the Comma 2. And to press firmly on the center of the mounting plate, starting from the center and going outwards, just to get all the bubbles out. And then once you feel like you've got all the bubbles out, it says to press and hold the mounting plate up against the windshield for a couple minutes. So now that you've got the plate mounted properly on the windshield, this next step is going to be the hardest part. You have to wait 48 hours for the adhesive to cure. That's going to be really hard for me because I'm really excited to try this thing out. But anyway, I'll see you in 48 hours. So while you're waiting for the adhesive to cure on your windshield, you can actually start setting up the software on your Comma 2. I've just got it hooked up to a portable battery pack here through a USB-C cable. And you can start setting it up. Just follow the on-screen instructions. And for this one, you want to make sure to do custom software, not dashcam software. And this is where you'll actually download the OpenPilot software from GitHub. The URL you need to use is https://openpilot.comma.ai. Just hit install software. And then it'll start downloading. So once the software is installed, you'll have to scroll through some terms and conditions. And then you have to take the training. So it just goes through and explains what OpenPilot is and what it isn't. You have to agree to keep your eyes on the road and be ready to take over at any time. This one explains the driver monitoring, which is pretty important. This is why the front-facing camera needs to be able to see your face, because it's actually making sure that you're awake, your eyes are open, and you're looking forward and paying attention to the road. It just says you must pay attention at all times. How to change lanes. How to disengage. You can press on your brake or your gas to disengage. And at this time, it does not recognize stoplights, stop signs, people cutting in front of you, or pedestrians. So that's why it's important for you to be paying attention at all times. And that's it. Okay, now I'm just going to keep waiting for the adhesive to dry. Alright, so it's been about 45 to 46 hours, which is close enough in my books. I really couldn't wait any longer. So the next step is, now that this adhesive is cured, is to actually start installing the wiring harness. So on my car, what you have to do is fold the mirror all the way down. That'll make this a lot easier. And then you just kind of push downwards on this plate here. So it should just slide off and it'll come off. And then there's this piece right here that you should just be able to pop off. Just be careful not to break anything. So that was a little harder than I thought, but I got this piece off. So now you should just be able to slide this cover off here. So now that you've got the cover off, the next thing to do is unplug this harness here. Just like that. And then hook up your Comma wiring harness. So I'll try and do this with one hand. Okay, that plugs in there. And then the other end just plugs right back in here. It should snap into place. There you go. And you'll have to find a good place to mount this. There's some adhesive on the back, but I'm just gonna leave that on for now because I don't want to stick it somewhere and then find out that it doesn't fit. Next thing you'll want to do is get the Ethernet cable that came with your kit and plug it into the harness like I've done here. And then you'll just have to route it along the lining here. You can just tuck it in. I won't record myself doing that just in the interest of time, but you'll route it along the headboard or head lining here and down this pillar. I've popped this plate off. I've seen some people just tuck it in underneath the weather stripping here. And then you'll just want it to go all the way down to your car's OBD2 port. And that's the port right here. So I've got the Ethernet port routed down to the footwell area here, and I connected the other end to this OBD2 adapter. So you'll just plug that in here. And there's a little extra slack, so I'm gonna have to tuck that up and use some zip ties or something just so it doesn't get caught on my foot or whatever. Now the next thing you can do is take the USB-C cable that came with your kit and plug it into the harness right next to the Ethernet cable, and then mount your Comma 2 and just plug the USB-C cable into the back of the Comma 2. And you can see mine's already started up and running now. I will figure out a way to hide all these cables later on though. I found out how to hide all the cables. Looks pretty good. Everything's all hooked up. So I'm just going to turn on the car now. And once it's started up, it's going to start a calibration process. So you basically just have to drive above 15 miles an hour just so the kit can calibrate with your car and adjust all the settings accordingly. So I won't record that process, but that's what you can expect when you first turn it on. It's all calibrated now. It probably took less than 2 minutes. I just drove around my neighborhood above 15 miles an hour. So now that it's all calibrated, I'm going to take it for a spin on the highway. So using OpenPilot is actually very easy. All you have to do is get up to your desired speed and then enable your cruise control. That's really all there is to it. OpenPilot will take over from there. And it also supports automatic lane changing. All you have to do is turn on your turn signal and nudge your steering wheel in the right direction, and then it'll automatically change lanes for you. So while you're watching the car drive down the highway, there are a few things you should know about using this system with a 2018 RAV4 in particular. The first one is that it does not support the vision-based OpenPilot cruise control directly out of the box. It'll actually use your factory radar cruise control instead. So what this means for you is that you'll only be able to engage OpenPilot above 28 miles per hour. This also means that OpenPilot will disengage below 20 miles per hour. So obviously the system isn't going to work very well in stop and go traffic or in city traffic. It's really ideal for highway driving. That's where it really shines. So although that may sound disappointing for some of you that commute a lot in the city and the stop and go traffic, there are some ways around this. The first way is to purchase what's called a Comma Pedal, and this is basically an adapter that you can plug in between your actual gas pedal and your car's ECU. And this will basically allow OpenPilot to send signals to your car's ECU as if you were pressing on the gas pedal, and that allows you to accelerate below 20 miles per hour. The problem with using this hardware by itself, though, is that you have to disconnect what they call the DSU. The DSU is the driver support unit. This unit basically provides a lot of safety features like your forward collision warning and your automatic emergency braking. So you lose those safety features when you unplug the DSU, which is why that is not an advisable solution. To retain all your safety features, you can purchase another product called a SmartDSU, which is basically just another adapter that you plug in between your factory DSU and the car's ECU. And this, again, basically just allows OpenPilot to accelerate below 20 miles per hour while retaining all of your factory safety settings, your automatic emergency braking and all that good stuff. And what's really neat is that when you have the SmartDSU and the Comma Pedal, is you can actually take full advantage of the vision-based OpenPilot cruise control that uses the camera behind the actual Comma 2 unit. The reason this is so neat is because supposedly, eventually, OpenPilot cruise control will support stop sign and stop light detection. So your car will automatically be able to stop at those stop lights and stop signs. So overall, I would say I'm still very satisfied with my purchase, and I would definitely recommend this kit to anybody that has a compatible car. Even though it doesn't support stop and go city traffic functionality with my car right out of the box, it still makes driving on the highway just so much more tolerable and even enjoyable to an extent. I consider myself a techie. I like keeping up to date with all the latest technology and just tinkering with electronics. So I just find it very fascinating to see my car basically driving itself down the highway. I'm also really looking forward to using this thing on road trips, especially since I live in Texas. If you live in Texas like me, then you probably know what it's like having to drive from one major city to another. It's just very long drives, long and boring drives, so I think this is going to help with that a lot. I do also plan on purchasing the Comma Pedal and SmartDSU devices that I mentioned earlier. So definitely be on the lookout for more videos from me on how to install those and get those set up, because I think it would be really cool to get full stop and go functionality working with this car. So anyway, if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments down below. I'll try and answer as best as I can. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.